Apart from Chandigarh, the only city in the world that has ever been built from scratch along the Corbusian lines of rational town planning is here. In the 50s, the Brazilians decided they wanted a capital. Now, the thing about bureaucrats is that they hate ports. They're too open to influence, they're too hard to control, they're too full of life. And so, although they already had one very lively port in Rio, the Brazilians decided to put their capital 1,200 kilometers away in the center of the country on a red dirt plateau where nobody had ever lived or indeed ever wanted to. Two of Corbusier's most brilliant South American disciples were called upon to design it. Lucio Costa did the town plan, and the main ceremonial buildings were done by Oscar Niemeyer. Now, Brasília, as the place is called, was going to be the city of tomorrow. It was going to be the triumph of reason and sunlight and the automobile. And here we were going to see what the international style could really do when it was backed with limitless quantities of cash and national enthusiasm. And we did. This was La Ville Radieuse all over again. How good it can look on film, the most photogenic new town on earth. It's the reconciliation of modernist democracy with the ceremonial grandeur of the state that the Beaux-Arts had wanted to symbolize 100 years before. It's always had a good press, too. Brazilian architectural critics did not dare say anything against it, and it's so far away that most other critics have never actually seen it. From the air, you can see the abstract categories of layout, the big living blocks, the administrative core, the work areas, the green space, the crossing highways. Here, the Corbusian dream has come true. The car has abolished the street, and the pedestrian is an irrelevance. A large irrelevance, since most people in Brasília do not own cars. The reality is worse than anything that has been said about the place. Brasília is a facade, run up under political pressure, finished in 1960 and already falling to bits. Cracking stonework, flaking concrete, rusting metal, a ceremonial slum. So what Brasília became in less than 20 years wasn't the city of tomorrow at all. It was yesterday's science fiction. Nothing dates faster than people's fantasies about the future. This is what you get when perfectly decent, intelligent and talented men start thinking in terms of space rather than place, and about single rather than multiple meanings. It's what you get when you design for political aspirations and not real human needs. You get miles of jerry-built platonic nowhere infested with Volkswagens. This, one may fervently hope, is the last experiment of its kind. The utopian buck stops here. I think Brasília is emblematic. The last 50 years in architecture have witnessed the death of the future. Like the Baroque or the High Renaissance, the modern movement lived and died, and it left behind its masterpieces which survive. But the doctrines don't inspire us so much anymore. Now, I think that people are always going to be moved and delighted by buildings like the Villa Savoye or the Seagram building here, just as they are today by, say, the Pazzi Chapel or by the Paris Opera. But what has gone, and I think gone for good, is the idea that architecture artists can lay the rudiments of paradise here on Earth and construct working utopias. Cities are more complex than that, and perhaps you can't purify human needs without taking away human freedom. In any case, you have to work with the real world and its inherited content, and memory is reality. It took us the best part of 50 years to find that out, but perhaps it was worth the trouble.